Jayson Tatum going to be back sooner than we thought because, of course, the, technology and the ability to get these surgeries, for example, like the Achilles surgery, players are having the surgery within 24 hours nowadays, which, is apparently makes for a faster recovery and stuff like that. I don't know if that's the case for every single person, but like that is why, or partially why, the surgeries are happening within a 24-hour time frame. Not a doctor. So like I don't know the medical, explanation as to why, but like basically that is what is happening, nowadays with NBA players and their Achilles injuries. So Jayson Tatum, he was recently pictured, I think, at Chris Paul's, camp or something like that. And it was reported that even before that, that he's been like walking. Obviously, he's not running or, doing basketball, activities, not dunking or anything like that. But like, it's the fact that like he's walking so soon, which is amazing. Like, we are so happy that he's recovering so quickly. But, like that he's walking, without a boot and everything like that. So it is, first of all, again, amazing that he's recovering so quickly. But I still don't expect Jayson Tatum to be back next year. I still think that's an unrealistic expectation. And because they literally traded away Drew Holiday and Porzingis, tells us that the organization either doesn't believe Jayson Tatum will be back next year, but even if they did believe that, the roster is not built to win a championship next year, right? So in any event, there would be no reason for him to rush back, because the roster is not ready to contend for a championship as currently constructed. Because even if Jayson Tatum somehow came back next year, he still needs time to readjust, and get back to what he was and how he used to play in basketball. But with that being said, there might be a possibility that Jayson Tatum's recovery time is faster than people thought. Now, again, I still do think he's going to sit out all next season, even if he was able to play, because there's, again, no point in him rushing back. But let's just say the Celtics are really good next season, even without Jayson Tatum, and they're a playoff team and stuff like that. Again, not that they're going to rush him back or anything like that, but like, could Jayson Tatum potentially have played? I mean, I know the season didn't happen yet, but like, could he have potentially played in this upcoming postseason next year? It's honestly not unrealistic with the way that the recovery times and the surgeries are going nowadays. Especially Jayson Tatum, who is in his prime, and he's never, to our knowledge, had any kind of Achilles injuries before. Like, it's not like a lot of, reoccurring surgeries. Like, kind of like Joel Embiid, he's had multiple knee issues and knee surgeries and stuff like that. So, like, the more surgeries and injuries you have on a specific body part, of course, it's going to be harder to get back each time. So even though obviously the Achilles tear is still a tear no matter which way you slice it, I'm just saying, like, if somehow, some way, and I hope this never happens, of course, to him, but if this was his second time, tearing his Achilles and recovering, I'm saying the recovery time would be longer and harder just because it's a second time, right? So with that being said, honestly, Jayson Tatum looks like he's recovering faster than maybe Kevin Durant did. And the thing about Kevin Durant is that even though Kevin Durant didn't come back for a long time, that is partially because, I don't know if he was ready either, but like that was partially because that was the pandemic season. So like, I don't think the Nets were even in the playoffs. Like, I don't think they had made it because Katie was obviously out the whole year prior to that. So like, we know that the season stopped and then it continued and finished in like October or September or something like that, and then the season didn't start until December. So like, it was like a delayed season. So like, in a way, it ended up working out for KD because he actually got extra time to recover, because it literally, there's no reason for him to be back. Like, they weren't in the, the bubble playoffs, and it literally made no sense. Like, there was no reason. So he did get extra time. But KD, we know, came back. I'm saying all that to say, KD came back from his injury basically the same, if not better, right? Like we know KD has been just as good pretty much, which is insane to say. So I'm bringing him up because if the season, didn't end up stopping because of the whole, thing that happened, would Katie have been able to come back, maybe on what looks like Jayson Tatum's potential timeline? I don't know. Like I said, like the recovery time seems to just get faster. It kind of actually reminds me of Russell Westbrook, if you remember. I don't remember if it was last year or the year before. He had injured, I don't remember if his knee or something like that. He injured something. And the recovery time for that specific injury, I just remember because I was like, that's crazy how fast he came back. For whatever injury he had, the recovery time was, I don't know, 3 months. Like it was something where it's like a significant chunk of time. And I think he had surgery too. Correct me if I'm wrong. I just remember Russell Westbrook getting hurt, and I'm like, oh, that's so sad. Like that's so unfortunate that he had that injury. And he was back full speed, like no problem in like 3 weeks. Again, I don't remember what the injury was. I don't remember when it happened. It was a couple of years ago. And I was like, that's insane. I was like, I've never seen anybody come back that fast from an injury and literally look just fine. Like, it really was only like 3 weeks that he was out or something. It was really insane to me. So, like, I say all that to say, like, the medical technology, the surgeries, like, I don't know how they're doing it. I don't know how these players are getting back so fast. Some of them. Obviously, some of them take their time and it takes longer and everybody's different, but like the quickness at which some of these players are coming back from surgeries and injuries and being completely fine. I'm not talking about players who re-injure it, is actually insane. I got to look up after this live stream that Russell Westbrook injury because I just remember that sticks out in my head because I was like, how is that even possible that he came back so fast? It was so insane. So, I say all that to say Jayson Tatum, again, I don't expect him to be back next season because it just literally makes no sense for him or the team. Like, there's no point because, again, besides the roster not being a championship contender, they traded, two of their most important players or two of their important players. And Jayson Tatum may not even be at full strength if he's somehow rushed back. But even besides that, I don't think the Celtics are going to tank, so to speak, right? Like, I think even if they were kind of trying to, I feel like because of the talent they still have, it would be hard for them to not at least win a decent amount of games. I don't think they're going to be, top in the conference or anything, but like they have enough talent to be, decent. And we'll see how many wins that translates to. But it would make sense because I'm pretty sure the Celtics, unless I'm wrong and they don't, I'm pretty sure they have their pick for next year. So there is literally no point for them to go all in on chances that are probably low of Jayson Tatum, being completely healthy and the roster being a championship contender, right? And rather get a good pick in the draft. Now, again, I don't think they're going to be a lottery maybe, because lottery is 14. But, like, I don't think they're going to be, like, a top 5 pick or anything like that. But with the odds, you never know. You know what? Cooper Flagg is going to Dallas, and they had, like a 1% chance. So you know what? The Celtics could get the number 1 pick next year. You never know. But, like, it just doesn't make sense for the Celtics to just go all in next year. They might as well try to, again, if they have their pick, which I think they do, try to get a decent number pick and then, take that pick and either package it to get somebody else or draft somebody who can help. Because, again, one of the things that they did, actually, ironically, talking about the Celtics, is that they traded Drew Holiday and Porzingis because of the financial, implications of the second apron. And Jayson Tatum being out, they still have to pay Jayson Tatum, even if he's out, right? Somebody said, hi from Arizona. Hello from Arizona. I'm not in Arizona, but hello to you from Arizona. What was I saying? Oh, yeah, so they traded Drew Holiday and Porzingis because of the second apron, implications, right? So what teams are trying to do nowadays is trying to stack up on good, like, young guys from the draft and players who are obviously on smaller contracts so that they can, still have depth on their roster, but not be stuck in that second apron nobody wants to be in. So even if they don't use that pick, as part of a package for somebody else, they can actually use that pick, draft somebody maybe who's like 22, who's, been in college for 4 years. So they're like polished and they're like ready to contribute to an NBA team and a winning team. I think there is a common misconception with some people. I've said this for years. I don't agree with the notion that just because you're older, that means that your potential is necessarily lower and that you won't necessarily be a better player than some of the younger players in the draft. Like the fact that like players who are 22 are looked at as old is insane to me. Like I don't understand that narrative. Like yes, when someone is 19, if they are showcasing the same skill level as someone as 22, I understand where you're like, okay, if they're 19, they are showcasing a 22-year-old skill level, the ceiling could be way higher. So like I understand it from that perspective, but like classifying someone as old because they went to college for the full 4 years or even 3 years, even if they're 21, they're classified as like old. Like it's just like, it's so hard to even be a lottery pick. I remember when Obi Toppin was a lottery pick and people were losing their mind that he was drafted so high because he was looked at as so old. Like, that is insane to me. Like, I feel like that can't be, that can't be the only thing you're looking at, right? Because you're going to miss out on so many good players. Because a lot of the quality players are technically older players who come out of the draft, because something you can't teach is experience. And these players who are getting or staying in college for 2, 3, 4 years are getting the experience of learning how to play, higher level basketball. Because obviously the difference between high school basketball and college is kind of like how there's a difference between college and NBA. But like they are able to learn, how to play like high level basketball at a college level. They get to learn more about how to play team basketball. Like college basketball is so different than the NBA. We know the scores are nothing like the NBA, right? So that's one thing right there. I don't know what goes on in college, but like I've heard from other players on their podcasts, stuff like that. There's like a lot more practices and stuff like that. So there is a lot more opportunity to learn in like the practice and stuff like that, and to grow and develop, because the other thing is that, and I've kind of talked about this before, but like when you are growing, like 19, 18, 19 is still young, right? And when you're going to the NBA, you are playing against grown men who are 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. We're like, imagine you're 19 years old coming out of college, and I know LeBron is 40 now, but playing against LeBron, even at 40, like the strength is crazy on LeBron. But imagine like 5 years ago, you're playing against LeBron at 35. Like, like just imagine the difference in so many ways, right? And so I say all that to say, I'm not discouraging people who are 19 to, not, take the leap to go to the NBA. That's not what I'm saying. But like, there are advantages to staying in college, and it allows your body to develop, because again, a 19-year-old's body, like strength wise and muscles and stuff like that is not the same as a 30-year-old who is in the NBA, who has been training at the NBA level for a decade now. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not discrediting anybody, but what I'm trying to say is like, when you are still playing against college athletes at 19, then you play against them at 20 and 21, you are able to slowly develop your strength, as opposed to maybe just going directly to the NBA and you try to go too fast, right? Like you try to put on the muscle, the strength, and all that stuff too fast, because you have to keep up with these NBA players who are like 260 pounds and just pure muscle, right? And so when you do something too fast, you may hurt something. I'm not wishing that upon anybody, but what I'm saying is like, at 19, you are still growing and developing. right? So like if you are able to, and again, not discouraging anybody who's 19 to not go in the NBA, but I'm just saying like part of one of the advantage is potentially like being able to slowly grow and get, stronger and stuff like that while still playing against competition who is similar to you in strength and stuff like that. And then once you get to like, that age 21 or stuff like that, you have a lot more muscle. And so now the transition from going from college to the NBA is not as significant in terms of having to develop, the strength and maybe some of the footwork and your IQ. Like that's a huge one too. Like even besides the strength, like just having more experience in college helps you develop your IQ. This is why some players who come to the NBA at 19 also take a few years to develop and they're written off as like a bust right away, which is not fair. Because again, your brain needs time to develop and learn. And we're talking about someone who literally transitioned from high school basketball to college basketball. So that's a whole IQ, challenge and learning curve. And then 1 year later, they're going to the NBA and they have to do the same thing. But now we're talking about the highest level of IQ. And it could be a hard transition for some people, even if they have all the physical strength and talent in the world. So what I'm saying is like, if you stay a little bit longer in college, it can also help you develop your IQ skills. And that is something that will definitely translate to the NBA. Like I said, that's why some players are written off as a bust right away because it takes them 4 or 5 years to literally understand the game at the same level as some of the older players. Like you hear the players in the NBA talk about how after they were in the league for X amount of years, however many years it took them, the game slows down. That is what they all say. The game slows down. And it's not that the game literally slows down. The game actually gets faster as we see. The pace keeps going up. It's that in real time, you are able to identify and be able to make plays on the fly, make decisions for defensive stops and stuff like that on the fly that you couldn't make in your year one because you just didn't know. Like you couldn't see it. You couldn't see the vision. And that's not anybody's fault, but this is kind of just going back to what I was saying, where I think if you're ready to go to the NBA, go to the NBA. I'm not stopping anybody and I'm not discouraging anybody from, getting their number one, pick. Because if I was projected to be the number one pick at 19, I would go too, right? So I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not discouraging anybody from getting that NBA money because listen, that NBA money is big time, right? I'm just saying let's stop talking about these 3-year, 4-year college players as if like they don't have a whole NBA career left. Because guess what? LeBron, I reference him again, he's 40. Now, is everybody going to play till 40? No. But we see NBA players extending their prime, and their primes are going to like 36. So even if you come in at 22, you still have a 14-year career right there. Is that not a long, good NBA career? You could do plenty of things in that time. You can make a ton of money still. You can be a multiple-time championship. You can make multiple all-star teams. You can do so many things in 14 years. Like the 2-year difference is not necessarily going to, deter you from getting all those accolades and stuff like that. In some ways it may help you. In some ways it may hurt you. It just depends on the person. I'm just saying like being 21, 22, coming out of college should not be looked down upon in the draft because that's how you miss some of the best players. Some of the really good players, like I said, in the NBA that we see today were 21 when they were drafted. And it just is what it is. Like, that's just how it goes. So that's my opinion on that. So thank you guys so much for watching this live stream.